I am sick. We talk about this with other like liberal issues and shit. If we want to talk about systemic issues, let's talk about rape. Rape is caused by a lot of systemic issues. Let's fix those. That's what we should be focusing on.
Okay,
not
in
like
the process
this
of fixing
punishing this is like putting people in jail for like doing drugs and shit. Like that's what when I see that, that's what it.
Do you want to walk
like
that back before you take like the biggest optics L in the entire fucking world? You are not about to tell me that some motherfucker raping another human being is equivalent to just doing drugs. You're not going to compare those, right?
Are you saying I can't make a comparison?
No, I'm saying you can, but if you want to, you need to be prepared that you are making the biggest optics L I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my god, if you really see it that way, I don't think there's anything wrong with the comparison. Like, it's not a 1-to-1, but comparisons
It's not even a 2 to fucking 5. It's not a comparison. Somebody doing drugs does nothing but hurting themselves. Somebody raping is a violent act against another human.
I would argue that, like, actually doing drugs is actually more deadly to other people, especially if you're behind a vehicle.
Alright, so we have a pretty controversial one today. Boys and girls, they, thems, welcome. It's about to get spicy up in this joint, okay? So, you guys might remember a little while ago I had a conversation with a transgender girl named Rose Mulet. I believe that's how to say her name because it's not spelled the same as mullet. And plus, I mean, a last name that says mullet, holy shit, that would be even worse. But anyway, we talked like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and you might remember that she said something along the lines of we should keep gender roles, and estrogen made her bad at math. Hopefully you guys remember that. It was a very spicy conversation. If you haven't seen it already, I recommend checking it out. And now she is back in the news cycle on Twitter. She's become the main villain on Twitter because of her opinion on this little doohickey right here. So somebody posted, no means no. And it says, rape has become endemic in South Africa. So a medical technician named Sonete, I'm just going to call her the inventor, developed a product for women to fight back. The inventor had never forgotten a rape victim telling her, if only I had teeth down there. So the inventor created a product she called Rape X. It resembles a tube with barbs inside. The woman inserts it like a tampon, and any man who tries to rape the woman impales himself on the barbs and must go to an emergency room to have the Rape X removed. Some critics say this is a medieval punishment. So, I think this is pretty fucking based. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you're wearing one of these, that's a great way to fight back against a rapist. Of course, this would be really easy. Nobody would actually get hurt if nobody tried to rape anybody. So there's that. But there's a couple little details that I need to clear up as well. First of all, this is not available on the market. This is only something that is being produced generally. They've been working on it since like 2005. They only have prototypes. It's not available to purchase anywhere. They have ran out of money because of COVID, and they're unable to mass produce them. So just to be clear, this is not a product that is readily available for anybody who wants to get it, okay? The second thing is, according to the inventor herself, this doesn't actually break the skin of the penis. So it prevents any kind of fluids from getting in as well. So how it works, though, is if a man tries to rape a woman and he puts his penis in, it will clamp on his dick. And then as he tries to remove it, it gets tighter and more painful. And the only way that you can get it off is literally to go to an emergency room or a hospital, which also helps apprehend the fucking rapist. Is it a little extreme? Maybe, but guess what? Rape is extreme, okay? And sometimes crimes that are extreme need extreme responses as well. So I don't see anything wrong with this. Rape X, the South African anti-rape condom, it is a mixture of true and false. What's true? An image pictures a prototype design for an anti-rape female condom. What's false is the pictured device has never been marketed or made available for purchase. So that's important to note, because if somebody tries to make an argument like, well, what if somebody buys it just to torture somebody else? Hold on. That's not able to happen. So the device is basically a female condom with teeth lining the inside. that work just like the protective spikes in a parking garage. You can go in, but whatever you do, don't back out. The teeth are angled, so they allow penetration, but bite like a shark as the penis is removed, supposedly causing so much pain that it will give the woman a chance to escape. Further, according to the inventor, the device will need to be surgically removed at a hospital, which will lead to the capture of the rapist. She says nothing has ever been done to help a woman so that she does not get raped, and I thought it was high time. It's a device worn like a tampon. She says that the rapist will be too preoccupied at the stage where he realizes that it's like clamped onto his penis. I promise you he's going to be too sore. He will go straight to the hospital. The device, made of latex and held firm by shafts of sharp barbs, can only be removed from the man through surgery, which will alert hospital staff and ultimately the police. Once it lodges, only a doctor can remove it. It hurts. He cannot pee and walk when it's on. If he tries to remove it, it will clasp even tighter. However, it doesn't break the skin, and there's no danger of fluid exposure. So, for as painful as it is, if it doesn't break skin, it can't possibly be like that bad. It also reduces the chances of a woman falling pregnant or contracting AIDS and other sexually transmitted diseases from the attacker by acting in the same way as a female condom. So there are some people that are still upset about this. They're saying that this is just putting all the onus on women to prevent rape and not on the men. I genuinely don't know what to say to that, because it's true that the rape issue is, of course, the fault of the rapist. But at the same time, if somebody is going to commit a heinous crime, such as rape, you need to be prepared to fight back. If I say I need to get a gun so that I can protect myself from a home invader, the response of, well, tell people not to invade your home, isn't going to be adequate. It's true that people shouldn't invade my home, but at the end of the day, somebody might invade my home and I need to be ready to fight back in that case. So I just think that that's not really a great response there. So thanks so much for coming on the channel. I know that it's probably going to be a controversial conversation, to say the least, because, well, your tweet was incredibly controversial. Like you said, you seem to be aware of the controversy that has come from it. The first thing I'm going to ask, because I want to ask you to like explain fully your opinion and everything, kind of expand on the tweet. But first, a lot of people seem to think that you are just doing this for attention, that you're not actually, that you don't actually believe anything you're saying, and that you're just more interested in kind of clout sharking. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so I've seen people think that, and it does bother me because it's like I understand that like some of my opinions are kind of controversial, but like I do genuinely believe like what I say and a lot of the stuff I do. Like obviously, like you know, like if I post a video on YouTube, like obviously like there's some goal of like, hey, I want this to get views.
Right.
But at the like if I'm saying something online, like I do it with the intention that I genuinely believe a lot of it. So. And when we talk about the controversiality of the tweet, I mean, this is, let's not, like, it's a tweet that has 100 quote tweets, not a single like, and like 80 replies. I don't know why it managed to generate that kind of response.
Do you really not feel like
it, I mean, I don't think it warranted that kind of response.
Really?
I mean, like, I knew it would be controversial, but like that controversial. It's like I don't think it'd be that bad. Like, damn.
I mean, so I'll kind of give you my general opinion, and then do you want to expand on the tweet, or is what you said kind of just exactly what you're still thinking? Sometimes, like, I understand because I too will make a tweet that's obviously a little inflammatory, but is ultimately still depicting what I truly believe and that I feel that I can justify. So I totally understand being on social media. Of course, you want to get attention on social media, but it really depends on whether or not you're disingenuously trying to get attention. So glad that we could clear that up, that you're not just clout sharking. Because a couple people, when I said that you were going to come on, were saying like, I'm just doing exactly what you wanted, and this is exactly what you wanted because you're clout sharking or whatever. So now that that's out of the way, I feel like the reason this was so fucking controversial is because, well, I'm being really brave by saying this, I know, but rape is bad. And so when people...
No!
And I'm a big proponent of self-defense as well. This is why I broke away from a large portion of the left when it came to the issues of Kyle Rittenhouse as well, because I value self-defense. I think that it's necessary for society to function as best as possible. And I'm not sure why you would say that women who use this device should be sentenced to life in prison. I mean, this almost reads like the "won't somebody think of the rapists."
Okay. Yeah, this okay. With that context, and I got a little of that in the replies. If I'm being completely honest with myself, if I wouldn't go as far as I did in this tweet, okay? I agree with the general premise of the tweet. I think that the device is bad and it shouldn't be allowed. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's like I think when I tweeted that, I genuinely believe that, but then I like sat down and thought about it. I'm like, maybe I wouldn't go quite as far as to say it's like okay, life in prison, but it should definitely still be banned. It should definitely like to me that's a torture device. To me that's like this is something so like torturous. Like they wouldn't even approve it for like prisoners of war. It would just like be too cruel. And it's like,
Well, are
well,
you
actually,
before we get it because I want to talk to you about the prisoner of war thing, but
yeah.
are you sure that you genuinely don't think that they should be sentenced to life in prison? Because I mean, I don't know when this other tweet you made came out, but I have it here on screen as well, where you were saying that the woman who killed her trafficker, who abused her, you said she's a murderer who deserves to rot in prison for the rest of her life. Feminists praising her for murder is evil. So it seems as though you're pretty okay with sentencing people to life in prison. Um, so is it, do you just kind of want to walk that one part back where you said they should be sentenced to life in prison, or?
I'd honestly, honest to God, like I probably before I say something like that, I should have looked more into the case. Like I don't know a ton about this woman. I literally was just like, I don't care about the context. Like this woman murdered people, and everyone in the replies was like, "Well, she's so great. She's an amazing woman. She is a hero." And I'm like, no, this woman murdered somebody. Like, come on. Like I hate this
But
idea
don't you
that's so
think the
normalized.
context matters? Like when you say like the context doesn't really matter as far as the murder, like it actually does, because I also didn't really know very much about this story, and so I looked it up, and she was dating somebody at the time. So first and foremost, she had been groomed into being a child sex slave essentially from the age of 11. So first of all, a lot of really fucked up shit going on mentally, I'm sure. And then you're right that when she shot her trafficker, it was not like a blatant act of self-defense. It wasn't like he was charging at her with a knife and she shot him. She shot him with him being unaware of it, and she also stole money from him as well. But again, this is why context matters, is because I think she was dating somebody at the time who said explicitly, I want you to kill this man and take his money, or else I'm going to kill your mom and murder you. So, I mean, at some point, like, that's context that is crucial right there, because now we don't have a woman who was mad at her trafficker and just shot him, which in my opinion, I might still be okay with that. But we have somebody who was virtually forced or significantly under duress when they committed this crime. So with that added context, would you also be willing to walk this back, that she probably shouldn't be rotting in prison for the rest of her life?
I would say that it seems like a pretty icy scenario to be in, but I wouldn't say that the circumstances surrounding you necessarily negate you from your own actions. I
Well,
like,
well, hold on, because I feel like you're doing the same thing we did last time. You did last time, where you're taking a position, but then you're not actually owning up to a specific position. You feel like the context shouldn't necessarily negate the actions. I agree with that. That is true. There is some context that doesn't negate the behavior of murder, but there are certain
yeah.
contexts that might. And that's why this specific context, with her being essentially threatened that her mom is going to be killed, she's going to be killed, unless she carries out this crime at only the age of 16, mind you, after she had been sexually abused from the age of like 11. I mean, we're talking about a girl who probably is not in the right mental state, who is now being threatened, who seemed to carry out a crime because she was scared and desperate. So, of course, the context doesn't always negate the crime, but in this case, don't you feel like the context does kind of negate some of the crime at least?
There's definitely some like it makes it less bad than it could be. But I think like a less bad version of murder is still like a version of murder. But like I also like there's very few like to me self defense. Like I believe in self defense, right? But I'm very like I'm very strict about my definition. My definition of self defense is this: you're basically sitting at home, no, and someone invades your house, points a gun to your head, and is literally about to kill you unless you like, take their life or whatever. Then I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. But unless it's like completely black and white like that, I'm typically on the side of like it was not justified. Because then what happens is you fall into this line where it's like, well, police officers would be like, well, actually, I shot that person because they were kind of looking at me funny. So clearly my life was in danger. And
Right,
it's
and in
like,
this,
well, we don't
sorry.
really know that. Like we're just speculating, and it's like, well, we took someone's life, so I don't think we should have this gray area when it comes to a life, a human being was lost.
Okay, so
Does that make
I
sense?
agree. Yes, and I understand that for the story where you said the girl should rot in prison, that was not an act of self-defense. That's true, because she wasn't under attack when she acted in a way that resulted in a loss of a life. She committed a crime, but this is separate from the self-defense conversation. This is about being under duress and being threatened, and her life being threatened, along with the life of her own mom being threatened, and so she carried out a crime. And again, I feel like the context in that regards absolutely plays a pretty significant role. We're talking about a 16-year-old who was a victim of sex trafficking and then was I think she was like raped from the age of 11 upwards. And then she carried out a crime because someone else said, if you don't, I'm going to kill you and your mom. I mean, these are circumstances that it's still bad to shoot somebody, of course, but like it obviously the context here matters, right?
I mean, like it does, but at the same time, it's like people like have bad home lives, and then they turn out to like live a life of crime. People like are sometimes put in gangs, and like the gang tells them to like do stuff, or they threaten them or blackmail. Like all these things happen, but it's still with the understanding. It's like okay, but you still have your individual accountability for the stuff that you do. It's like this is just like a different version of that to me, and I don't see how this is so different. How people look at this and be like, yeah, you get them, and it's like it's like this person murdered somebody. Like it just feels so odd to me the response that people have for these kind of things.
Well, somebody in chat is correcting me and saying it's not actually technically murder if they're forced into killing another human.
Um, then what is it?
If you are forced to kill someone.
At this point, it's just like technicality. Like,
In general, you cannot claim duress as a defense to a charge of murder. The law would prefer that you allow your own life to be taken rather than choosing to live at the cost of another's life. Well, that's just somebody on one little form. Regardless, whether it's murder or whether it's not classified legally as murder, I just feel like you're taking a very black and white position, and that is causing you to leave out a lot of really crucial nuance here. But I guess we can take a step back from that because, of course, we probably should get back to the main tweet in question. And what you said a minute ago, though, about self-defense, you don't really consider it self-defense unless you're sitting at home and you get attacked and then you have to act in a way to defend yourself. Isn't that kind of what happens with rape? I mean, we're talking about a woman who is wearing something, hypothetically, because this is not actually being like produced right now. It's not available to purchase on the market. But if you have a woman who is wearing a condom that protects her from getting raped and also delivers a form of self-defense to the rapist, how is that evil? How should you be sentenced to life in prison for this? How do you, I guess, sorry to cut you off, just one more clarification. How do you not see it as being self-defense?
First of all, there are methods of self-defense that like don't provide like this kind of harm. I mean, look at like the text below it. Like it literally is like, oh, well, applying this leads for the man to have to go to the hospital because
Yes.
things are like lodged in. They have to have
Yes.
surgery,
You realize that
and
if he
then
goes
it's
to the
like,
hospital, they'll be caught. The rapist will be caught that way.
God, by what? Like injuring them?
So if somebody's in if somebody's in the middle of a crime and say they get shot and then they are taken to the hospital, they will be treated and then they will be handed over to the authorities. This is why people who are involved in, a lot of crime, drug trafficking or human trafficking or murder, whatever, if they get injured, they can't go to the hospital because if they do, after they're treated, they will be handed over to the authorities. That's what would happen in this case. This is a good thing. I mean, the inventor of this thing said it herself that it doesn't even break the skin. So it's not as if it's going to like cut your dick off. I mean, we're talking about it clamping down. It's going to hurt like hell, but for you to be forced to go to the hospital, this is a good thing. This is literally going to result in more rapists getting caught, especially, I don't know if you've seen the statistics, but rape is heavily underreported.
Yeah, I believe that. I totally believe that it's underreported. I think that that's a thing that definitely happens. I would also say that I want to be careful what I say here. I'm looking at this device. Like first of all, if you wanted to prevent it, there are ways to do so that don't involve this, that don't involve like actually like hurting people.
Would you rather prefer the woman has like a gun and shoots the rapist?
No.
Because I mean, well, even pepper spray hurts someone, right?
Okay, but like, does it like hospitalize you? I mean, maybe. Like, that's like, I don't even like pepper spray. Like, I don't even like that stuff. Like, I'm generally like,
but
most of the time.
You're not making sense right now. Rapists hurt people. People need to be able to fight back against rape. They either need to shoot the rapist, or pepper spray the rapist, or get help of some sort. You can't just say like, oh, I don't like that thing. Because that thing is necessary in regards to protecting yourself from rape. So, like, what would be your solution?
Well, I don't really, like, have a solution. I mean, how do you want me to solve world poverty? Like, you know? Like,
no,
how do I prevent people from raping people?
This is way less complicated than solving world poverty, okay? This is... You're walking down the street, and it's late at night, and a dude comes up and starts attacking you and trying to rape you. What do? How do you act? Do you, A, pull out a gun from your purse and shoot back? Because that would be warranted self-defense right there. Do you pepper spray them? That would be warranted self-defense. If you get in a place where those options are not available to you, and then the rapist penetrates you, at that point, having this thing on is going to result in an act of self-defense.
I would say I would just like look at my surroundings, see if there's anyone nearby me that I could help. I mean, if I had my phone around me, I don't know how much that would do. A lot of the times, I know it sucks. I mean, like I can only speak for myself, right? Like I wouldn't want to hurt anybody else. So I couldn't do that stuff. Like
when do you think it's acceptable to hurt another human?
I don't really think it is. Like I don't think rape is like obviously I don't think rape is okay. I don't think any of this stuff is okay. I think it's all really bad, but I don't think you solve it by hurting more people.
You do. Like, yes. In this case, a society will be safer and better if we live in a society, Joker face, that allows for us to fight back with violence. Less people will be harmed if we fight back against rapists and murderers and home invaders with acts of violence than if we didn't. That's resulting in a net decrease of harm because you're going to see a decrease of rape.
But this is the same like argument that's like, well, actually, we need to fight guns with more guns. Give all the minorities the guns, guys. That's how we protect
this
it.
Isn't.
And then why don't we just?
That's not the same at all. Not even close. This isn't just give everybody guns. This is, here's a device that a woman can wear, and if she gets raped, this allows for her to get away. This forces the rapist to turn himself in. This prevents rape. And if rape does occur, it results literally in the rapist getting caught. I genuinely don't know. Like this is why I think that people think you're trolling, is because you have no position here. Like, I don't want anybody to get hurt, ooh-woo. Doesn't fucking matter. That's irrelevant. I don't want anybody to get hurt either. And you know what? I don't want people to get raped. And sometimes you need to act in a way that harms the rapist to prevent a larger group of people from getting harmed from rape.
Well, look, I'll tell you this, okay? I think it would just take an evil person to wear something like this. And my reply is,
how is that evil?
I look at the quote tweets. It's all TERFs. It's all people like saying the most transphobic, nasty shit to me. It was a lovely read through. Though that seems to be the majority of the people who are like having a real issue with this tweet, and it makes me just want to not care. It's like, oh.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
if somebody's being transphobic towards you for this tweet, then those people are fucking cunts and they deserve to be called out, okay? Obviously, over here, we don't endorse transphobia. And obviously, a response to this tweet is not to engage in transphobia. That's fucking dumb. Anybody that's doing that should be condemned and ignored, honestly. That's a side point, though. I couldn't say, well, I really don't think that my take is that bad because everybody who's disagreeing with me is a bad person. Like, that's a side point. It's almost a red herring. It distracts from the actual argument at hand here.
I don't know. I feel like if you like, I can't know this for sure, but I look at the response and I'm like, if you were to like message like a bunch of people in real life, hey, do you think women should wear these like things that like harm and stab men whenever they try to have sex? Like, I think most
That's
people
not
would be
what's
like,
happening.
no, like,
Yeah, if you
like,
framed it that way, you would be bad. If you said, hey, women are putting this on as a prank to prank their husbands, and then they say they want to have sex, and then they watch their dick get stuck, ha ha ha, LOL, yeah, that would be fucked up. That's not what's happening. What's happening here is people are wearing this, or hypothetically, because again, it's not actually available on the market, but hypothetically, people would be wearing this when they're in a situation that could result in rape. If it's unconsensual sex, then that is rape, and that deserves to be fought back at. Like, I'm actually floored that I'm over here arguing that like rape is bad. Like this is like a kindergarten.
But I agree that oh my god. So first of all, if we're going with the argument that this is going to prevent rapes, or first of all, the argument really should be that something like this is just immoral and disgusting, and that a product like this should always be illegal and
How
never
is it
be
immoral?
allowed.
What makes it immoral? The only argument that I've heard against this is literally that if you're wearing it and a man rapes you, then because of the pain that suddenly is inflicted upon them, they might react violently and kill the woman that they are raping. That's the only argument, and that's a good argument against this thing, perhaps. But that's not what you said.
Yeah.
That's no. You can't just decide to all of a sudden take the good position here.
I swear, I'm not even joking. Like, I know you're not going to believe me, but I honest to God was about to say that.
Okay.
Like, I
but
know,
that's
I know
not what
like
you said. That's also irrelevant because what you're doing is condemning the women for wearing this. If your tweet was, hey, I'm concerned about this device because it might help in reducing rape. However, it could result in more violence inflicted upon women. Then that would be fine. Okay, we probably wouldn't even have that much to disagree on. But that's not what you said. You said it's evil.
Because that's not, like, that is, like, it's a very true point, but it's not, like, my issue is that people are, like, are agreeing for the wrong reason. And it's, like, I want to be clear, like, there is no situation, like, I just think the idea that, like, women would wear this is just evil. It is just, like, pure fucking evil.
Okay, you're making assertions, and you're not justifying them. So if I said, hey, I think that rape is evil, that's an assertion. An argument is, I think that rape is evil. Well, why do you think rape is evil, Hunter? I think that it's evil because you're violating another person's bodily autonomy. You are taking advantage of a person that you have gained control over. You're harming another human being who is innocent. And you are acting in a way that makes society as a whole far less safe for everybody. I don't want to live in a society where it's likely that my wife could get raped walking around downtown somewhere. I don't want to live in that kind of a society. That's an argument, see? That I'm making an argument for why it's evil. You're just saying it's evil. Why is it evil?
Okay, so this is the device that harms people and it makes it less safe for everyone else involved. Literally just the same thing you mentioned.
No, it's not just about harming somebody. It's about harming an innocent person. You are attacking, in the case of rape, you are attacking another woman who is literally just walking down the street or trying to mind her own business, or maybe is somebody you know personally, since that is how the majority of rapes actually take place, and then you're taking advantage of them. It's not just harm. Harm can sometimes be a good thing. Again, if you're getting raped and the woman shoots the rapist, that is a good thing, because the woman deserves the right to defend herself from an act of violence being brought against her.
Well, I'm very strict in like you shouldn't be able to like murder people because that's like a permanent, like, I genuinely believe, and I don't know why this is so controversial. I'm like, it's scary how many people online will be like, yeah, we need to kill all the pedophiles and rapists. And it's like, okay, first of all, pedophilia and rape is disgusting, but there's way too much normalization in society where it's like, oh, let's just murder them all. They deserve the death penalty.
This isn't even about murder, though. This isn't murder at all. This doesn't even break the skin of the penis.
Dehumanization. It's like,
it's dehumanizing to rape somebody.
Well, yeah, that's
You're
absolutely true as
attacking another
well.
person, seeing them as nothing but an object to fulfill your own sick sexual needs. Like, everything you're saying here applies 10 times more to the rapist. When you say, like, murder's just bad, guys, I don't know why everybody's mad at me for saying murder's bad, bruh. It's because you're not giving any nuance to that. Sometimes what you're considering murder isn't actually murder. Sometimes it's self-defense. Sometimes it's okay to kill another human being if they are trying to kill you or rape you. That is okay. That is justified.
I do not. First of all, I have a very, very, very strict definition of self-defense, and I do not believe that rape applies to that because 99.9999% of rapes do not end in the person dying. Therefore, this is not a life and death scenario.
Holy shit. This is why people think you're trolling.
No, but it's...
It doesn't have to
How?
result in another person dying for you to still be able to enforce violence, even lethal force, against an assailant.
Are you for real? Like,
You don't
if
need
someone,
to be getting
if,
fucking killed by your rapist mid-choked out when it's finally okay to act out or take the gun and shoot that person. If you're being chased by a rapist, I think even that is valid to then fight back. This is why, again, I was in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse getting off on self-defense, because he was being chased. He was a victim. Someone was chasing after him, threatening to kill him, and he fought back with lethal force. And you know what? The court ruled in his favor. That was self-defense. In this case, we're talking about somebody who is literally about to get raped. You don't know how many rapes end in death either. I'm going to look it up in a minute because I don't know either. But acting in a way to defend
It's so
yourself
low
from an
that
act
people
of
don't report
violence
on
is
it.
fucking based.
I mean, I just don't, like, that's the thing. It's like, for the same reason, I believe that Kyle Rittenhouse is a murderer who should be sitting in jail right now. I genuinely think so. He came with a gun. He came to cause trouble. And I'm sick and tired of so many people defending him. Like,
Well, this
he's
is a
just an
separate
evil
conversation
murderer.
because no, you're
Yeah.
wrong. You're literally wrong about everything you just said, but this is literally a conversation for another time because he didn't go there to cause trouble at all. That was actually his local community. He went there because he wanted to defend his local community, and then he was chased by somebody who was threatening to kill him. So, again, conversation for another time. I'm reading right here. I just looked it up how many rapes end in murder. This is at least in India, so probably not a great comparison, but this is just the top thing that came up. Rapists increasingly killed their victims in 2018. So, okay, there was a 31% increase in cases of rapists murdering their victims in 2018 as compared to 2017. From 223 cases of rape murders in 2017, the count increased to 291 in 2018. So, when we have a
country of,
crime
like, a
that
billion
can
people.
when we have a crime that can result in the death of another human being, not necessarily, but it can, and when you have a crime like rape that is already significantly underreported, fighting back with lethal force is justified in that case. But again, to clarify, what we're talking about right now is your tweet. That Rape-X condom thing doesn't kill the rapists.
Yeah, hey, I have to use the restroom. I'm so sorry. Can I come right back?
So my point was that I think it's justified to respond to an act of violence against you with lethal force. However, based on your tweet, this condom thing doesn't kill the rapist. It literally results in the rapist essentially facing consequences for their despicable actions and then forces them to get caught.
To me though, like I said, I just see this in the same way that I see like waterboarding. Like it to me, it's like it's unnecessarily cruel and
Do you see a
unusual
difference between
punishment.
waterboarding and this? Can you think of anything that might make those things different?
One involves the use of water, and one involves the use of scary spikes.
No. One, like waterboarding, is where you are literally torturing a prisoner, somebody who is already in your custody. That isn't an act of self-defense.
The problem is like it encourages the society where it's like, first of all, I just don't like the idea. It's like that fear mongering young women to constantly be fearful of men, the misandry in our culture. It's a huge issue. It's rampant.
That's
Whereas like if you look at how like
issue.
okay.
You can't. No. I'm gonna cut you off right away because you cannot hide behind this phony virtue signaling of, oh, think of the poor men. Women are so scared. Ooh, boo hoo. No, that's a separate conversation. Women have every right to be scared of rapists, considering that rape, at least in South Africa, where this thing was actually developed, was an endemic. It was consistently happening. That's a valid thing to be afraid of.
Yeah, I mean, rape does happen. I agree that it is a thing that exists.
Okay, so let's just like walk through this really slowly. If there is a woman who is getting attacked, she's walking down a dark alley at night, and a dude comes out from behind the trash cans, okay, and he starts to attack her, what do you think the woman should do in that situation?
I don't know. But I mean, I know what I would do. I would just probably try to be nice and just like go along with it and just be like, oh, it's gonna be over soon. I'm gonna be okay with it. I'm not saying that I would necessarily expect everyone to be like that.
So, yeah, that's like very few people would do that. Let's go ahead and change the hypothetical then. What if this rapist is raping specifically because they're unable to have consensual sex because they have HIV?
Oh shit. Well, then
Should you
that
just
person
let them
needs to
do it
be in
anyway?
fucking.
Just like kind of just be like, okay, it'll be over
I
soon.
mean, that person needs to be in fucking jail. And also, I was reading a bit about this. Like, this is essentially just the same as like a regular condom, except for the spikes. Like, if it was just a normal fucking condom, no fucking issues. It's like the fucking spikes and like the intent of like hurting another human being that
Yes, the
bothers
intent.
me.
No, not the intent of just hurting another human being. The intent of hurting a human being who is trying to hurt you first. That's why it's self-defense.
And by the way, when it comes to like the STDs, like that shit that is horrible. Like
So
obviously,
what should you do in that situation?
if someone is spreading like a disease, like STDs and stuff, like in my opinion, that should be a criminal offense.
It
Like
is,
it
but
because
what should happen to the woman who is getting attacked in the dark alley?
I don't know. I mean,
You
I don't know.
can't
I
say you
mean,
don't know. If you're going to say that acts of self-defense are evil or you're against them, you must offer some kind of alternative then. This is like if I said, dude, you know, water is just bad. It's so gross. I hate water. Okay, well, what do you think we should drink instead? I don't know. It's like,
I mean,
that's like a half-assed argument.
I live my life where I try to avoid these situations by like making sure that I don't get into them. But if they do happen, like I'm just like whatever. Um,
Okay, Rose,
I
is
don't
your
look at a
goal, wait,
situation
honestly,
by someone
is your
harm
goal
me,
to just
therefore I
like
should harm.
infuriate me till I rage quit on you? Is that like what you're trying to do right now?
No.
Okay, I don't care what you personally would do. That is irrelevant to the conversation. I'm not saying that this is up to what would you personally do in this situation? What do you think generally, principally, would be an appropriate response for the woman who is in a dark alley getting attacked and raped by the man with HIV? What should she do in that situation?
With the context that with the dude has HIV, with that context in mind, then maybe it's more moral to like use like a fucking pepper spray or like a taser or whatever the fuck, a non-lethal method that is able to prevent someone from doing that kind of stuff.
So like a
I think
condom
in
like
that
this
in that
thing? So like
in
a
that
condom
case
like
it would be
wait, a
justified.
condom like this that is non-lethal and allows to
No,
and it stops people from doing the rape.
no, I think that there are other better methods than it, and also like it doesn't like stop like I don't want to get like TMI, but like it's not even gonna like stop like I guess there was like some explanation as to well actually it's not gonna because it acts like a condom it doesn't prevent like penetration from like happening it just like happens and then because penetration happened like the guy I don't even know
It
it
clamps on
doesn't
his
even like
dick.
yeah
It says
I,
that it's, let's see, it's a device worn like a tampon. It hooks onto the rapist's skin, allowing the victim time to escape and helping to identify perpetrators. Once it lodges, only a doctor can remove it. It hurts, he cannot pee and walk when it's on. If he tries to remove it, it will clasp even tighter. However, it doesn't break the skin, and there's no danger of fluid exposure. This is a
basic
non-lethal response to an act of violence that's being taken against somebody.
I mean, waterboarding is non-lethal. I wouldn't call it
Stop
necessarily
comparing it to
okay.
waterboarding, Rose. It's not the same fucking thing if you're torturing a prisoner who is already in your custody as opposed to fighting back with lethal and or non-lethal but painful force if you are being attacked.
It's just like there's other options versus this. And also,
Like
like,
what?
it's
You're against all of them. You're against the pepper spray. You're against the you said maybe pepper spray would be okay if you're getting raped by a guy who has HIV. The
yes,
newsflash, you don't usually know who the fuck has HIV if they're raping you. So you should probably just play it
true.
safe and pepper spray or shoot or tase any motherfucker that tries to rape you.
I'll tell you what, okay? I'll concede in some aspect. If a woman is walking down the street and a man is about to rape her and there's nothing the woman can do and she's just trying to live her life and not be in that situation and the guy will just like not fucking go and like not let her just be, then maybe it is okay to use something like pepper spray in that very specific scenario, maybe. But the problem though, is when you say that, people are like, "Oh, well, this guy harassed me. This guy basically made some catcall comment to me. I can use pepper spray." Like that. Like when you say things like that, people will take that and they'll twist it. Like
You're
no, not
engaging in a
unless they
slippery
are.
slope right now. Like again, this is a red herring. This is the equivalent of me saying, "Hey, people should." Actually, you know what? I'll give you the textbook example of a slippery slope fallacy, which is what you're engaging in right now. It is this. Hey, my kids made lunch for themselves today for school. The slippery slope fallacy is, wait, so if the kids are now making their own lunch, next they're going to be teaching their own lessons. Do you see how that's a illogical leap to jump from making lunch to teaching lessons? Similarly, it's illogical to say if women have the right to pepper spray a rapist, which, by the way, they already have that right, then they're suddenly going to start just fucking pepper spraying every guy that they think is creepy. Like, we would see this happening currently because women already carry pepper spray with them.
I see it. I just online in feminist spaces, I hear some of the scariest shit, and it's really terrifying.
But
Like
you're
some of these
making
women
equally
are
scary
fucking
arguments.
evil.
You're,
Like
okay. And some men are fucking evil to the point that they're willing to rape people.
yeah. I mean, true. I mean, yeah. I just what the problem is like when women are evil, society cheers it on. When men are evil, like I think society like knows that it's evil. It's just to me, it's like women can do some of the nastiest shit, and society will still be on their side. It's like kind of fucked up.
So, another red herring argument. This is aside the point. You didn't come on my channel to talk to me about how you don't like some aspects of modern feminism. That's fine. I've seen cringy takes from feminists also. I've seen feminists engage in blatant misandry. I understand that that exists.
Yeah.
This is a separate issue. Like, I
It
just don't understand why it's so hard for you to bite this most obviously correct bullet, which is if you are getting attacked, if somebody is chasing you down a street and they're trying to grab you and you're not sure what's going to happen next, you have a right to turn around and pepper spray them, or worse. If you're being chased by a man, it's dark at night, you're a single woman walking alone, you're getting chased by some fucking dude, you should absolutely be able to turn around and blast that motherfucker. Like, I don't know if you realize that, like, you are actually what you're advocating for, even though you're not directly saying this, the conclusion of your supposed solution is literally just more rape.
How is what I'm advocating for more rape? Like,
You're
that's
literally
not
against virtually any form of self-defense unless it's in some super fucking specific scenario where the person has HIV or whatnot.
okay. Well, I just conceded to the fact that yeah, if a woman is out in public and she's like getting raped, then maybe that's okay. But it would have to be a scenario where it's like, like it is undeniably the case. Like the same way
That's
I feel
not
about
fair.
like,
You can't put that on anybody. If a woman is walking down the street alone and a dude is chasing after her, she doesn't need to wait until she's on the ground with her pants ripped off and as the dude's taking his dick out to shoot him. She should be able to shoot him or pepper spray him or respond in some way or another before it reaches that point. Not to mention, if she's already to the point that she's on the fucking ground, she is not going to be able to reach over in her purse and grab her gun out or something. Like, that's not going to happen.
The problem we have here, though, is that there's a lot of men who literally just happen to be walking in the exact same direction as a woman, and the woman automatically thinks that he's like stalking her, and it's like they just happen to be walking in the same direction.
Do you have a single example of this happening?
It happened. Like, what do you want me to do? Like,
have you ever heard of an actual story of this ever fucking happening? Because it sounds like you're just making bullshit up right now.
I tweeted about it on Twitter, and I had somebody respond to me saying that it happened to them. So I don't remember who said it, but I remember tweeting about this, and someone said to me like, "Oh yeah, like I had this like I was walking down, you know, it felt like." I don't remember exactly what was said, but I do remember someone saying like, "Yeah, this happened to me." Like, I hear feminists talk about it all the time.
Okay,
and it's like.
That's obviously bad, but like I just don't think you're not putting two and two together here. Like, one is, hey, don't pepper spray random motherfuckers as they're walking down the street. Two, it is okay to pepper spray or respond with even lethal force if you are being chased by somebody. Chased. If you're running down the fucking street and another guy's after you, you have a right to turn around and pepper spray him or shoot him. Like,
well, first of
this
all,
condom thing that you're calling evil is literally past that point. This is to the point where now they haven't been able to pepper spray this dude or tase him or shoot him. They're now on the ground. They're actually getting raped. And then that's when this spiky condom thing kicks in. And you're even calling this evil. Like, how should rape victims defend themselves?
Well, first of all, I feel the exact same way that I feel about the cops here. I think that no one should be allowed to have guns, including the cops. My thing is like, why is it justifiable? And this happens way too often. They'll just shoot people with like guns when they could be doing literally other non-lethal methods. They just shoot right away.
You're against it seems that you're against non-lethal issues too.
Average person. I do not trust the average person to use their sane judgment to be like, well, I tried every other reasonable way. I think a lot of people just want to shoot gun. Like, a lot of people just want to do that.
This is a red herring again. You keep doing this, and I don't even know if you realize that what you're doing here. You keep on pivoting away, weaseling away from the actual topic to go into another thing. I get it. Guns can be dangerous. You're in favor of gun control. Whoop-de-doo. That's not the question right now. The question is, when do you think that it is justified for a woman to react to somebody who's chasing her or is making it very clear that they have harmful, bad intent, for the woman to respond with some type of force, whether that be pepper spray, a taser, or using this condom? I know that you gave one example, but you might have to say it again because I think I forgot to write it down.
The thing with the HIV, or is it something else?
You said that you would be willing to concede that in a specific situation, you were...
Like at home, a woman like walking home at night and then a man just like starts raping her or something, which is like but most rapes are done by people who like people know. It's not usually done by a stranger.
Yeah, and if you're getting raped by somebody you know, you should have the right to pepper spray them or tase them or worse.
Not murder, but...
Yes, murder. If that's what it comes to. Yes. Women have bodily autonomy. This is like a crucial part of any functioning fucking society, that your bodily autonomy is able, essentially, to be protected via lethal force. If somebody that you know is trying to go ahead and violate your bodily autonomy and commit a heinous act of violence against you, and then you shoot them, that's not murder, that's self-defense.
Like, if I'm being completely honest here, like, the STD thing is one thing, but, like, I don't believe that, like, my body is sacred. Like, you know, if someone wants to, like, do stuff with my body that I don't care about, I don't think that, like, my life is ending. Now, I would never put anyone else to that same standard.
You are, though. You literally are right now in this conversation. You're extrapolating your own fucking, no offense, twisted views of bodily autonomy onto everybody else. What about a woman who does think her body is the sacred holy temple of the Holy Spirit, okay? And now she's about to get fucking raped. Is it okay for her to react using potentially lethal force?
It's okay for her to react, but not using lethal force.
So what is a reaction then that is genuinely okay in your mind?
I don't know because I don't know a lot of what the options are available.
Pepper spray, taser, this condom thing.
Pepper spray would be the first thing, I guess. And then the second maybe be the taser, which I don't even like that because I feel like that could lead to like health issues, whatever.
Do you think
But like
rape can
I
lead
just
to health
don't
issues?
like I don't know much about like tasers, but like they seem scary. But I guess those are at least better than like guns. I just wish there was something better.
Do you think that rape can result in health issues as well?
Oh, it can, yeah. I mean, like, I probably, yeah.
So I just don't understand. Like you are actually pulling the think of the rapist card right now.
But it's
You
like the
seem to
problem
be
is
more
that
concerned for the health and the well-being of the dude committing rape than you do for the woman getting raped.
dude, but like this thing happens in people's minds. It's like, oh, this person's a rapist. This person's like all this stuff, and all of a sudden, it's like they don't care about what torture gets done to them. At a certain point, it's like, oh, this person's a rapist. Okay, let's torture them, and they're totally fine. It's like,
It's not
how about
torture.
torture is never okay,
It's
and I'm
not
just very
torture.
consistent.
Why do you keep doing this? Why are you saying it's torture?
How can you look at something like that and not think it's torture?
Do you know what torture means? Like roughly like out of your ass kind of definition of torture?
Let's go to Google.
It's usually cruel and unusual punishment done against prisoners. People that are already in prison. If a woman had her rapist tied up, handcuffed, completely immobilized, and then went and took a kitchen knife and started cutting his dick off, I would probably agree with you that, hey, this dude has been apprehended. You shouldn't take it further and try and go out of your way to inflict some kind of bodily harm on this person if you already have them apprehended. But that's not what's happening. That's not what this condom thing is. This is rapists choosing to rape and also accepting the potential consequences of committing that crime. And now that consequence could be you get your dick clamped in with this creepy looking condom thing.
This is cruel and unusual punishment, though. And also, like, there is a crime being committed. The crime being committed is the rape. So it literally fits all those definitions.
No, it, oh my God. The Cruel and Unusual Punishment Clause measures a particular punishment against society's prohibition against inhumane treatment. It prevents the government from imposing a penalty that is either barbaric or far too severe for the crime committed. So having your dick get clamped by a fucking creepy looking condom that doesn't even break the skin, that you then have to go to the hospital to have it removed, is not too severe for the crime that just happened.
By the way, when they're talking, I could be wrong about this. I feel like when they're talking about not breaking the skin, they're like, well, don't worry, the woman's not going to get hurt. The man is going to suffer, but the woman's fine. I feel like that's what they're talking about.
Yes, the man should suffer. Yes.
Like, they're saying that it's not going to break the skin of the woman.
No,
like,
it's
that's
about
all
the
they care
skin of
about.
the penis. It hurts. He cannot pee and walk when it's on. This is what the inventor said. If he tries to remove it, it will clasp even tighter. However, it doesn't break the skin, and there's no danger of fluid exposure. So if you're not in favor of lethal force...
Like, what sick person invents something like this? Ooh.
I think that you're actually trolling.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
like,
I think you're trolling.
I'm sorry.
I think you're...
Like,
maybe everybody was right. Are you actually just trying to get, like, clicks and get attention for being insane?
I think it's crazy that, like, more people don't agree with me. Like, how can someone look at that and not think that? Like, I'm just baffled. I just genuinely believe it's like this online left sphere is just so far detached from reality. That's what I genuinely believe.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just write down some notes then, and we'll go one-on-one, okay? So, in the case of rape, you are against lethal force, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. No lethal force. And then can you remind... I'm so sorry I keep asking this. Can you remind me again in what scenario would you be okay? Or wait, no, that's actually not even the right question I wanted to ask. In the case of rape, then, are you able to react with some level of self-defense force, even if it's not lethal?
In the case of rape, I'd be okay with it, I guess. Sure.
Okay.
As long as it's not lethal. I think that that's a fair response.
Okay.
I don't think that people should just be allowed to kill their abusers.
So
like,
pepper spray would be okay with you.
Right? If you're literally being raped and that's the only way to stop the rape, then sure.
Wait, not literally being raped. If it's
or about to be raped.
Yes. Okay.
But you knew 100%.
I think we're gonna have to get into really specifics here. So
100%.
No, nobody knows anything 100%. That is unfair. An unfair, ridiculously high standard.
Some innocent people are gonna get hurt. And that sucks.
Innocent people are getting hurt by rape. So yeah, you're right. So in the case of rape, when we're talking about this, what I mean is the woman is obviously aware that somebody is invested in acting out bad, acts against her, essentially. Whether it's being chased down the street, whether it's her telling the guy repeatedly, who's maybe she knows personally, who's at her house, get off of me, please. I said no, please stop, and he doesn't stop. In cases like that, is pepper spray or some kind of self-defense measure, so long as it's not lethal, okay in your book?
I could understand that. That self-measure is fine. Yeah, just as long as it's not deadly for the most part. But okay. Like I said, it have to be a very specific scenario. Okay, like
what is the specific scenario?
I mean, like it's like a case-by-case basis. I mean, you're never gonna know all the facts. On default, though, I would say it's usually not okay. But there are some instances where it might be okay.
Okay.
I mean, like
in most
it's
cases
a very broad
where a
thing.
woman is in danger, whether it's by somebody she knows, who's making threats verbally, who's making an attempt to attack her, who's trying to engage in sexual behavior with her while she's repeatedly saying no and trying to push him off. These are the scenarios in which you would be okay with non-lethal force being used against that person, right?
If someone is about to literally be raped,
you stop saying that. Stop saying if somebody is about to be raped. I don't know what that means. If somebody's being chased, if somebody's having verbal threats used against them while the person making the verbal threats are also making an attempt to move towards the person.
Slope. No, I can't. That's too far. Then it'll be like literally you just said before, like, oh, you got mad at me because I was like, oh, but then they're going to be like, oh, then they use pepper spray for everyone who catcalls you. And then you're literally unironically doing that thing.
Catcalling is not verbal threats. If you're like, I'm going to go fucking rape your ass while chasing the woman or making some kind of obvious move in her general direction, why then would you not be okay with using non-lethal force against that person? Like, women pepper spray guys if they're in the parking garage alone and some dude comes up and she is fucking, or some dude comes up and is being creepy.
The problem is that the quote-unquote definition of creepy is very subjective, and also certain groups of people are seen as more creepy than others. There's biases there. Oh, you better believe that there are biases there that are going to hurt innocent people who get falsely accused of this shit. And that's why it's detestable, because there are going to be people who aren't really acting in any way, or who are just like...
You're contradicting yourself right now. Because if you're worried about there being innocent people falsely accused, if they have a fucking dick clamp condom on, then it's obvious that they committed the crime.
Well, yeah, but we're not talking about that.
That cuts out the likelihood of there being an actual innocent person getting accused.
Yeah, but that's not what we were talking about. Like people like on the street, like someone like chasing them, or someone like throwing like insults. Like we're not talking about that at this moment.
Okay, we'll walk through it a little bit more then. So pepper spray is okay in cases of non-consensual sexual advances.
Yeah, and I don't believe that women should just be like, I don't think it should be normalized for just for society to like scare little girls when it's like really like safe. First of all, this idea like that people should never go outside because like people are gonna like.
Stop doing that We're not to that part yet, and you're trying to morally grandstand again, and it's not going to work. We're just trying to take notes here. So non-consensual sexual advances, you're okay with pepper spray. Let's see. Physical threats and attempts at an attack. You're okay with pepper spray in that case?
And not in what?
Physical threats and attempts at an attack. So if somebody's saying like, "This, I'm gonna rape you. I'm gonna do this shit. Come get over here, dumb bitch," while also like advancing towards you in obvious aggressive fashion, probably be okay to pepper spray that person, right?
That feels like a very vague definition, and I don't want to say yes because I know that there's some things that other people will fit into that are clearly not part of that. I say yes on the premise, but I'm not willing to go that far because I know that people will take that and attribute it to things that I do not agree with.
Okay. So in principle, though, it's fine.
In principle, if
somebody is how are people going to misjudge a situation in which a man is threatening to rape you or kill you or do something violent towards you, or even just says like, "Get over here, come here, I want to talk to you, come here," while also like moving towards you quickly? How is that not okay then to pepper spray that person?
But do you not see how it's scenario? It's like, "Hey, can you come over here?" Like maybe that person is socially awkward. Maybe that person like it wants to meet them up with something, or it's like, "Hey, you dropped this credit card on the ground. Let me give you your credit card back."
If they said that, then you wouldn't pepper spray the motherfucker. If they're like, "Hey, you dropped your credit card. Here it is," you wouldn't pepper spray them. I'm talking about somebody that's making it obvious that they're interested in doing something.
An example on how
that wouldn't happen. Your example is dumb.
It was just something I thought of, like, right off the top of my head. Like, stuff like that can happen. And
We're
that's
talking
why I'm,
like verbal
scared,
aggression.
so.
We're not talking like, "Hey, sorry I'm a little awkward, but you left your wallet back here. Here you go. Have a nice day, ma'am." We're not talking about this. We're talking like verbal aggression, threats, verbally expressing your ill intent, shit like that. It'd probably be okay to use pepper spray.
Well, the problem is that it can be misinterpreted by people, and I don't trust that to like. I can't trust every single person to be a good judge of what is actually a threat or not. But can you please tell me? If it is a clear-cut case that it is a threat, then yes. The problem is that it just.
Okay, if it's a clear-cut threat. I think if somebody's saying, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to rape you, get over here right now, come here, I just want to talk, come here, and then moving quickly towards you in an aggressive fashion, probably okay to use pepper spray.
Not if they say, "Come over here, want to talk." If someone literally says, "I'm going to kill you or rape you," then yes.
They're not.
But if someone's just like, "Hey, I just want to talk," that is not the same thing at all.
I disagree completely. If some guy is in the parking garage walking towards the woman saying, "Hey, come here, please, wait, I just want to talk," and coming closer after she's making it clear that she wants him to leave her alone, pepper spray is completely legitimate in that case.
There could be like a million different reasons. Like, I mean, I don't like that doesn't necessarily like just hearing that alone doesn't necessarily mean anything. So like you're attacking somebody without even knowing like what their intentions are at that point. You're just like making assumptions. The absolute worst because of a standard society based on microaggressions.
No, it's not a misandrist society. Women are getting raped all the fucking time, and the statistics on how underreported it is very, very devastating, to be honest. So one, not true. Two, why don't you just spell out a scenario in which you would be okay saying, yes, pepper spray is okay in that case. And it cannot include, "I'm going to do super bad things to you, bitch." It needs to be a little bit more realistic than that. In what situation would you say, "You know what, it's okay to use pepper spray there"?
If someone is literally threatening to kill you or rape you, it's like, yeah, then yes. But other than that, probably not.
So then what if she's physically moving away from him?
Then no.
What if she's physically moving away from him? She's trying to ignore him. She's making it very clear that she doesn't want him to come near her. She's probably not going to say, "Leave me alone, you creep," because any kind of response could result in further acts of aggression. So she's probably going to try and walk away. She's going to try to walk away. She's going to try to avoid. But if that person keeps on walking towards her over and over again, not making their intentions known, just saying shit like, "Hey, come here, I just want to talk. Wait, I just want to talk," and you pepper spray them, that is completely valid. Because how do you know that that person has something important to say or is interested in just raping? How do you know?
No, we don't. That's the thing. That's exactly my point, though. My point is that you don't know. That is literally the point that I'm making here. That we do not know.
So if it's
I think
non-lethal, why would you not be okay with taking the safe route?
the safe route is potentially hurt. Like the legal system, it does not just like, well, let's just put everyone as guilty just to protect everybody. Like
It's not guilty.
we
It's not
don't.
being convicted of guilt. The person is guilty of ignoring the woman's body language that is making clear she doesn't want to be near him. She doesn't want to be around him. She wants to be left alone. And then he is still advancing towards her in an aggressive way. He is guilty of doing that.
There are some cases to where that might be the case. Maybe this guy is like saying, "Hey, hey, I need to talk to you. This person, like your mother, just like died." I don't fucking know. Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm sure there are
you
scenarios
just
where
purposely
that
being
would make.
stupid right now?
No.
Are you like
I just-
are you like pretending to be dumb as shit, or is this like?
No.
It sounds like you are unironically trying to say the most dumb fuck shit I've ever heard. Like, do you genuinely, you talk a lot about misandry. I think it's probably a little bit misogynistic to assume that a woman is going to pepper spray a motherfucker saying, "Your mom died, can I talk to you?"
But that's the point, is like someone could say something that is like, people can say something that without knowing the context of what is going on in the scenario can be viewed in both ways.
Okay.
And
So
I've
let's
seen
go ahead
this
and
so
say that we go
often.
your route. Let's go your route then, is that it's very open for interpretation. A lot of guys might get pepper sprayed unfairly. So let's go ahead and just kind of take the pepper spray out of the equation for a minute. Do you think that maybe it would be good to have something if it came to the point where somebody's advancing towards you, you're not sure what's exactly going on, you've made it clear you don't want to be talked to, but they keep on moving towards you, it's a little aggressive, kind of scary, you don't have pepper spray, you don't do anything, it comes to the point where the guy is bad, tackles the woman, and tries to start raping her. Then what? Wouldn't it be nice if there was some kind of last resort measure that would prevent the rapist from actually being able to penetrate her and potentially spread STDs, and then would actually result in him having or experiencing some form of self-defense that would then force him to go to the hospital?
I mean, this is literally just a condom with like the teeth things. Just wear like a regular condom, I guess, if you're gonna go that far. But like, I wouldn't even say that. Like, it's about preventing it. That's the most effective thing.
Yeah, the pepper spray prevents it. Okay, so you scratch that one off the list. We are now to the point where the woman has exhausted all other options. We're done with lethal force, based on your logic. Not good to have pepper spray because it's too, quote, open to interpretation, even though it's fucking not. And now we're to the point where the woman is tackled down on the ground and she's about to be raped.
No,
Wouldn't this condom be a good last resort?
You can only use pepper spray once it becomes absolutely clear that this is where it's heading. Once it becomes absolutely clear.
You don't know. You are never going to be
some point
absolutely
you
clear
do.
until it's actually happening.
At some point you do.
So what if she has the pepper spray in her bag? She's not sure, so she doesn't take it out. By the time it gets to the point where the dude reaches her and is able to grab her physically, the first thing he does is he throws her purse away from her so that she can't call for help. Now she doesn't have the pepper spray. Now it's obvious what's happening. It's 100% that she's about to get raped. Now what?
God, I just believe in innocent until proven guilty. Like, I hate this fucking idea that's like,
okay,
that we just assume the worst out of people.
I'm really like I'm actually like about to
worst.
start screaming like an angry father. Like, holy motherfucker.
Please don't.
They have been proven guilty when they begin raping the person.
Yeah, but
that is the fucking guilt right there. So what should be done?
I agree, but not at any time before that. They're not guilty until they do that.
Okay,
so
if it is put to the point where he is now guilty, based on your fucking logic, which is actually based on your illogic, now we've reached a point where the woman is on the ground, she is literally about to get raped, she doesn't have the pepper spray anymore, she's not able to turn to that, what does she fucking do? Why would it not be a good idea to wear something like this as a last case resort?
it's not morally justified.
How is it not morally justified? You need to say more. You can't just say things. You need to explain it to me.
Because of the harm and damage done by it.
What about the rapist doing the harm and damage to the woman?
That's not moral either.
Okay, so if that's not moral, it is in fact moral to react and respond to the threat with harsh force. That is actually moral.
It's not justified to me. It's not. It's like, I don't think there's anything that will make it justified to me.
Do you understand like the difference between like a punishment and then self-defense?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing that you can say that's gonna make me think that the fucking whatever that thing is anything other than a torture device. That should just be illegal everywhere.
Oh my God, you should stop saying words if you don't know what they mean. That's the first thing. Second of all, the reason people are getting upset with this dipshit take is because, Rose, you are against every other measure, protective measure, up until the point of the rape. So you're completely done with lethal force. You're not really in favor of the pepper spray thing unless it's like 99.9% positive that you're about to get raped, and then the guy says, okay, I am about to rape you now. Please bend over. You're against all of that shit. And then when it comes to an actual rape, penetration, you're now against the last resort measure, hypothetically, as well.
If I had to choose one, I would choose the pepper spray over this.
The pepper spray would arguably do more damage, by the way.
Okay. I'd still choose it over this. But I would prefer not to choose either.
Okay.
I don't think you fight fire with fire.
I don't know. Honestly, the only thing that's torture right now. No. Honestly, the only thing that's fucking torture right now is this conversation. Like, I get it. Don't fight fire with fire. It sounds like a very nice, cute, like Tumblr quote. It's very nice. But at the end of the day, if you are about to get raped, you need to fight fire with fire. Yes. If you're about to get motherfucking raped, it is okay to whip out the pepper spray and spray that dude. If a man is approaching you aggressively and not leaving you alone after you've made it abundantly clear that you want to be left alone, pepper spray is warranted. And I'm being nice, mind you. I think it's okay for her to whip out her fucking Glock and pop a cap into that motherfucker. But I'm taking that off the table for your sake.
But that's like, that kind of mentality is exactly what I think is wrong with the world. That people are just totally okay with that kind of stuff.
It's okay. Yes, it's okay to fight back against an attacker or a potential attacker.
Like, Hunter, like this hypothetical person who's like a rapist, like, let's say, like, can a rapist be redeemed in society? Someone who's like raped someone when they were like 16 or whatever, can they like become like a well-meaning person like at age 40, or are they just destined to be an evil person for the rest of their life?
I never said that they would be destined.
That's why I'm asking. I never said that.
I'm all in favor of rehabilitative justice. I'm in favor of that. So if only there was a way that instead of responding with lethal force, there was something that could be done to keep the person from raping while also not killing them.
But you just said you were being nice, and that the only reason you didn't put that on the table is just because you wanted to be nice. Like,
no, because I'm trying to abide by your standards here. So by your standards,
but that's not what you believe.
Well, I know, but this is why it's a debate. I've removed this from the equation so we can at least talk on your playing field. So if we no longer have the lethal force, and you are believing in rehabilitative justice, wouldn't it be a good idea for there to be some act that could be taken that results in the rapist getting out of you, leaving you the fuck alone, and then being apprehended so they can later hopefully be rehabilitated?
Okay, my opinion, if we want to stop rape, we have to look at the systemic problems that cause it. We talk about this with other like liberal issues and shit. If we want to talk about systemic issues, let's talk about rape. Rape is caused by a lot of systemic issues. Let's fix those. That's what we should be focusing on.
Okay,
not
in
like
the process
this
of fixing
punishing this is like putting people in jail for like doing drugs and shit. Like, that's what when I see that, that's what it
Do you want to walk that back before you take like the biggest optics L in the entire fucking world? You are not about to tell me
How
that some motherfucker raping another human being is equivalent to just doing drugs. You're not going to compare those, right?
are you saying I can't make a comparison?
No, I'm saying you can, but if you want to, you need to be prepared that you are making the biggest optics L I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my god! If you really see it that way, I don't think there's anything wrong with the comparison. Like it's not a 1-to-1, but comparisons
It's
don't
not
have
even
to
a
be
2 to
1-to-1.
5. It's not a comparison. Somebody doing drugs does nothing but hurting themselves.
That's
Somebody
not
raping
true. I
is a
mean,
violent act against another human.
I would argue that like actually doing drugs is actually more deadly to other people, especially if you're behind a vehicle. Like being
It
under
doesn't
the
have to be
influence of drugs
deadly.
and operating a vehicle
It's
is
about
probably more
harm.
deadly than rape.
It's about harm. You're talking about locking up rapists, comparing somebody who committed an act of violence, heinous violence, against an innocent woman, somebody going to prison for that. You are now comparing to somebody who is going to prison for doing drugs because of shit policies like the war on drugs. That again, they're
Yeah.
only hurting themselves in that case.
Yeah, but like that's the thing though. It's like the way we fix people, people will take less drugs if we fix the systemic issues that cause them to take drugs. People will stop being rapists if we fix the systemic issues in our society that causes people to be rapists. But
Like
instead,
what?
it's
What
like
is the
no
systemic
penis
issue that you
trap.
think needs to be adjusted or addressed? Excuse me.
One of them probably like I don't know 100%. I'd have to do more research in it. But a lot of like it's loneliness, poverty, um, stuff like that. I mean, I don't know all of them,
Okay, so
but
remember at the beginning of this convo, you were like, do you really want to hear my opinion on how to end world poverty? Because it's kind of ironic because that's such a huge issue to like address. So if
yeah,
poverty is a contributor to these systemic issues, which is leading to more rape, that is going to take a very long time to fix.
definitely,
So for the
definitely,
time
yeah.
being, what should be done? People need to be able to fight back and protect themselves while we go ahead and address these systemic issues. I'm all for addressing systemic problems that can contribute to higher rates of rape, 110%. The problem is, it's not actually one or the other. It's both. Women need to be able to take proactive measures to protect themselves from potentially violent assailants while we also address the systemic things. Because if we're going to take away the protection part and just address the system, then the process of fixing that system is going to be a long process, which means more women get raped in the process.
Well, I just remember taking a critical race theory class. It was a great class, and I'm comparing this because I think the misandry against men is very similar to the racism against Black people. So basically, the idea is that it's like the cultural thing, right? It's not one. I remember they said in the class, it's not one particular person being racist. It's the fact that it's systemic racism. So it's like when it comes to rape, or I guess like rape culture, whatever people call it, right? It's not that one, like there's not, people all too often say this person is a rapist, this person is evil, when they should be viewing it as this is like this societal issue that we need to fix without villainizing specific people.
Well, I think it's okay to villainize rapists. And when you sit, like, when you maybe I misheard, but it sounded like you were making fun of the concept of a rape culture.
um there's probably I mean like I don't know, I'd have to look into that more. I
Because just, I hope you know that, like, your entire opinions you've been giving is, like, a complete and total contribution to rape culture.
Probably. I wouldn't want it to be the case because
And
I don't
that's a
believe so.
bad
But I
thing.
understand how someone could think that way. Like I don't believe I am, but I could see how someone could look at what I'm saying and think so.
No. When you are taking a stance that essentially prioritizes the well-being of the rapist and the person committing the crime over the well-being of the victim of that crime, you are contributing to a form of rape culture right there. Because you are
Okay,
contributing
but
to a culture in which now we are viewing the rapist as, they're kind of an innocent person. We shouldn't really lock them up. Oh, think of the poor
they're a
rapist. Their
human
pee-pee
being.
will hurt. And then you're kind of just neglecting, like, what does the woman do in a situation where a man is approaching her aggressively?
Okay, but Hunter, this is the problem is on these online spaces that I'm with, we have like every single other person is like ignoring this aspect. So I want to highlight this aspect because it's like 99 out of 100 people, maybe even more than that, are just like not even willing to like consider this
You
aspect. It's
keep on
always
trying
like,
to like weasel your way into some morally superior position, and it's coming across super motherfucking disingenuous. Like everybody can tell. That's not what you said. If your tweet was, hey, I'm not sure how I feel about something like this device, it would really be ideal if we could try and address the systemic problems that lead to more rape. Then, okay, fine. That's not what you said. You said it's evil. And that any woman who uses it should be sentenced to life in prison. I know you walked back the life in prison thing, but I mean,
yeah,
it's obvious that you have a very strong negative reaction to certain measures being taken to prevent rape.
yeah, I do. They're not the right measures, and I don't think that they're justified.
Okay.
I mean, back in
You're just saying
I'll
things.
think of
Like, you're just saying things right now.
but like this to me reminds me a lot of COVID. Like back in January 2020, I was like tweeting about how COVID was going to kill millions of people and how like the United States needed to like prevent flights from anywhere else in the world. Australia did it; they didn't get COVID, and meanwhile everyone was like, "Oh, let's do COVID." And like I'm pro-vaccine, I have all my shots. But the problem is we were doing all masks and vaccine when it's like, why couldn't we just been like, sorry, no one enters or leaves the country. Like it's like stuff like this. It's like people aren't willing to look at the bigger picture. They just kind of wait until like it's too late. Like
No,
there's just
it's not about not.
all of these.
It's literally not about like not looking at the bigger picture here. We're talking about what you said and why it warranted the amount of criticism that it did. And again, it's because you are taking a very, very firm stance against precautionary measures that result in less rape. Like, just to recap, like, no lethal force at all in your mind. The pepper spray thing, you were only willing to concede in, like, super specific cases. And then, even though you're not in favor of the lethal force or the pepper spray, generally speaking, you're also then not in favor of a condom like this, which could be the last resort in protecting a woman from getting further raped.
I'm not, Hunter, because the society that I want to be a part of is a society where this stuff is not necessary. I want to be part of a society where rape just isn't really an issue because we've already dealt with the stuff that can cause it, because we live in a world where people are well taken care of and they aren't as desperate. They aren't as like, corrupted or whatever.
I don't well taken care of. Like there's not going to be like a government mandated girlfriend. Like guys that are
That's
out there.
not what I'm talking about. I mean like UBI and shit. That's not, oh my God.
Yeah, but guys going out and raping, like poverty can absolutely contribute to that. But like there's more to that as well. Preventative measures need to be taken. And I mean, if you want to be in a society where there's less rape, it would probably be a good idea for women to be wearing these spiky condom things, because you know what? Now, when the guy's considering raping the woman, he's got to think twice. What if she's wearing that Rape X thing? I don't want to get stuck with one of those. I'd get caught right away. It would hurt.
Do you genuinely think that that's going to like stop a man from like raping? Like a man who is going to like, I don't believe that's going to stop men from raping women.
I don't know if it will or not, but it's definitely a more realistic solution than whatever the fuck you're saying.
Oh my God.
You're trying to take like a morally superior position, and it's not working. I mean, you compared people going to prison for drug use to rapists going to prison.
Yeah, I compared people going to prison with other people going to prison for different crimes. I think that's a thing you can reasonably compare.
No, this is like me saying, dude, hey, 2 people went to prison so I can compare them. The one woman accidentally ran a traffic stop, and the other guy molested 4 kids. Like, yeah, they both went to prison, but the reason they're in prison is pretty fucking pertinent, no?
When I was talking about was the systemic issues that lead to that and how we address those, and I used drugs as an example to prove my point, and I believe that also applies here.
And then you doubled down on the comparison when I asked you to clarify because of how bad of an optics look that would be.
I don't care if you think it's bad optics. I think it's a fine comparison.
Okay. I genuinely am just impressed. Honestly.
Impressed by what?
By your fucking stupidity. I mean, I don't understand how, like, are you even able to, like, walk up and down the stairs? Are you able to use the toilet without a nurse? This is insane to me.
Oh my God.
I know I said it last time, but now that I actually have your video on, I can see your walls, and they literally look like they're fucking lead paint. They're painted with lead.
I didn't paint them. I live in an apartment by my college, but whatever.
Are you okay? Like, are you able to live alone?
Yeah.
Do you need to be like checked in on regularly by like a hospice nurse or something? Because I mean, the amount of cognitive dissonance is insane. Last time we talked, I felt like you were being really bad faith and kind of weaselly, but like this is at a whole new level. This is a whole new level, Rose. Rethink your fucking tweets before you make them. Remember last time I said you need to go and like sit alone and have some self-reflection?
Okay.
You need to do that more. Except don't just sit alone. Go outside and like some grass. Sit there and have self-reflection. The tweets you're making are dumb as shit. You're not able to offer any defenses, and you keep backpedaling into a, well, in a utopia world where there's no such thing as rape, blah, blah, blah. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. You're comparing people that went to prison for drugs to people that went to prison for fucking rape.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just think that we should strive for better. And I think that
I agree.
I want to like...
I 100%, we should absolutely strive for better. And the first thing we should do is try and make sure that women have proper preventative measures so they're not getting raped. That's my solution. You keep having fun with your like fantasies of some utopia where there's no such thing as rape, but I don't know what else to say. Like, maybe you're against people going to prison for drugs because like you're on drugs. I don't know, but either way, I'm.
No, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do alcohol. I don't.
Then maybe you need to drink and smoke because then maybe you would be more reasonable at that point if you were, I don't know, heavily intoxicated.
No,
either way, this is.
I think that they're all evil and that people should stop doing them. Like, I think they're toxic.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the conversation. My brain honestly hurts. My brain was tortured in this conversation, so thank you.
Okay.
I am actually astounded. I don't understand how somebody's so fucking stupid. Deep breaths. I think she might have been trolling. Like, it seems like she was trolling. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right, guys. It was so much worse than I thought. I was expecting it to be, like, bad, but not that bad. She was trying to be passive to make you seem like an aggressive... Wait, what? Wait, where did that check go? Like an aggressive gentleman? I don't care. People try this all the time where they're like, Hunter got mad. Yeah, I did. I get mad at people that seem like they're defending rapists. Yup. Congrats. I'm not the bad guy because I get mad. That's not what makes you lose the argument, okay? And also, I was extremely fucking patient throughout that conversation, let's be honest. Okay, well, I was just, my brain was just waterboarded and tortured for the last hour, okay? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.